think Weston Price's book is a great one to point to of recent populations disconnected from the industrial foods and looking at the foods that they eat for nourishment and fertility and child rearing.
Yes.
To me, I think this is so important, and I wanted to get into some of these fertility foods with you, the essential nature of fat and animal foods for fertility, and your research into this. Now, I know this is such a broad topic, and you've got encyclopedic knowledge on this, but maybe we can start with the fertility aspect. So, what types of foods are best for fertility, and how do we know this?
And this is what is so fascinating to me, because these people knew that certain foods were necessary to guarantee a healthy baby. And science has completely validated this. So how did they know? They weren't scientists, but they had a different intuitive type of knowledge. And this is what the science man, has a real hard time with. But anyway, so they had special foods they ate at least 6 months before conception. So this would be grass-fed butter, liver was one, grass-fed raw milk, fish eggs, certain types of seafood like fish heads, organ meats, marrow, egg yolks, another one. So when we look at these foods, what do we see in them? We see very high levels of the fat-soluble vitamins A, D, and K. Now, I want to talk about vitamin A a minute, because vitamin A has been demonized for many years, and there's a new push to make us think that vitamin A is really toxic. And it is toxic if you're taking it as a supplement in your food or an additive to your food. But vitamin A is the concert masters of fetal development. So the embryo starts out as a stem cells, a collection of stem cells. And then in a very rapid succession, the stem cells start to differentiate. And so they become heart cells or lung cells or whatever. And there's a signal that's given to those stem cells that says, you become a heart cell, you become a lung cell, okay? What is that signal? It is vitamin A.
Oh, wow.
Vitamin A it is vitamin A. It's the concert master of fetal development. So the first cells that are going to form are the heart cells. By the time that embryo is the size of a peppercorn, the heart is already starting to form. So before you even know that you're pregnant, that heart is starting to form. It's too late to build up your stores for the heart to form properly. And that's why the wisdom of eating these foods very rich in vitamin A, like liver, butter, egg yolks, fish heads, fish eggs, now you can see it. You built up your stores so that when you got pregnant, the vitamin A was right there for that little concert master to tell your heart to form properly, to tell your lungs, your bones, everything to form properly. And we now know that vitamin A is supported by D and K, and these were the foods that contained all these vitamins.
So vitamin A, D, and K, these are, Weston Price actually talked about these, but he didn't name vitamin K at the time, right? He called it the activator X.
He called it activator X. He didn't know exactly what it was. It was not in seafoods, it was in land fats. So it was not in the cod liver oil he gave, it was in the butter oil that he gave. And he found if he gave them both together, they worked really well. So I actually, myself, in the morning, I take my little fat-soluble activator cocktail, which is a teaspoon of high vitamin cod liver oil, half a teaspoon of high vitamin butter oil, and now I've been adding to it half a teaspoon of emu oil. So I've got the fats of land, sea, and air. I think that's kind of neat. There you go. And I add warm water and stir and just gulp it down.
The emo is almost air, right? Because they can't really.
Oh, that's right. They can't fly. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. So, the fast for fertility, there's something that's so powerful. I mean, I've had friends who were accidentally conceived when they didn't want to, after getting on a more carnivorous diet, eating more meat and animal fats and less grains.
Going to France and eating pate. There
you go. Right, it's accidental.
Suddenly conceived. Yeah.
Right. We've heard stories in our community too of just people who thought they were infertile. Suddenly they're pregnant, and it's, oh, shoot, You mentioned 6 months as a period of time for giving a more nutrient-dense diet. What do What do you think? So preconception, 6 months, and then what about during pregnancy? Were there any fertility foods that some of these indigenous cultures focused on?
It was the same foods. It was absolutely the same foods that they were supposed to eat. I mean, they ate a lot of other foods too, but they needed these special fertility foods to have the pregnancy go well right through the pregnancy. And then, all the hormones that are involved in the birth process that cause the contractions, that open the cervix and all of this, they all require these same nutrients. So this is why these births were very easy in the traditional people, because they were well nourished and they made the hormones at the right times.